Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Cancer Conquering Community on Thursday. And this is just before Thanksgiving. Next week is Thanksgiving, and we all have something to be thankful for, I'm sure. And hopefully, you spend Thanksgiving with the people that you love, your family, and if not, reach out to somebody who is willing to reach out to you, and let's all make it a great one. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our special guest speaker. His name is Claudio Pannunzio, and Claudio is from New York, I believe. And
Connecticut.
Connecticut. I always say that. I
Yeah.
always say that. I have a mental block against Connecticut, I guess.
Well, we are so close to the border. I'm like 500 yards from the border with New York State.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'd like to bring on Claudio, and I'll let you, Claudio, tell us who you are, what you do, because you have a great message for our group. So, Claudio,
Yep.
welcome. Please introduce yourself, and thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you so much. It's in a nutshell, I'm a three times cancer survivor. I had first a um, prostate cancer, and then I had pancreatic cancer with a Whipple a few years ago. Went through chemo, and then last year I there was a recurrence of cancer in my pancreas. I underwent three sessions of chemotherapy that almost took my life. It was one of the most absurd and scary experience that I had in my life. Now I'm in what I define chemo limbo because I'm talking to an expert that her name is Dr. Allison Ocean at Cornell in New York City. She's an expert in alternative cures to traditional chemo infusion, which some people like me do not tolerate. So I just 10 minutes ago, I made an appointment with her to see how we're going to proceed. But when I'm not busy with cancer, I am an interfaith chaplain. So I don't promote religion, but spirituality, and help any type of person with any religious persuasion or credo in life. I work. I am on the board of director of this group called the U.S. Chaplaincy Corps. We are 700 chaplains across the United States. I'm the head of the first responders unit, and we are the only unit of chaplains in the country trained in psychological first aid, which is very important not only for victims of disasters, but when you're dealing with people that have been traumatized by cancer. I also work as a volunteer at the hospital here, the local hospital in Greenwich. I've been blessed this year. So I received two awards, including Volunteer of the Year. And I work with an organization called the Cancer Hope Network. Same thing. We assist families and people with cancer and provide emotional and spiritual support. So I dedicate my life to do what I do. One idea that I bounced off Mark and that gave birth to this session is the fact that, especially my volunteer and my chaplain work, I really see that a lot of patients after receiving the diagnosis become intensely preoccupied, if not obsessed with knowing every detail about their treatment plan, their blood tests, their PET scans. I have some of these patients, they say, well, my cancer marker moved 0.3%. I mean, it seems to me a little bit too, too over focused. So, what happens that many of these people, when they get obsessed with knowing every single particular detail or detail in particular, they end up, before talking to their doctors, going to the internet. The internet, as we know, it's an uncharted territory where you have to be extremely careful in treading, because if you don't know the source where the information comes from, you can be really extremely misinformed or convinced that of something that is really not real. So as I said, I don't promote religion, but I promote spirituality. But I received training both in traditional and also in Zen Buddhism for the past 25 years. So very often I refer to the practice of Zen or mindfulness. And one of these practices is the fact that very often we get obsessed with information, we get obsessed with knowing and over-knowing. And so in Zen, there is an expression that says, we're trying to put a head on top of another head. And that's where really confusion arises. So one suggestion that I give to many patients in my interaction is the one of, it's a teaching of Zen that is called not knowing or beginner's mind. Not knowing is very scary, because when someone received a diagnosis for cancer, not knowing a concept might seem unsettling. So cancer really often trusts us into a world filled with tests, treatment, statistic, predictions, number. So in such an environment, the idea of not knowing can feel really frightening, as if we are surrendering all understanding or control. But yet for many patients that I have trained and helped, embracing not knowing becomes an unexpected source of strength, of clarity, of peace. Remember, when we receive a diagnosis, we go through a major trauma. And what I say very often, even to doctors, doctor, when you announce someone with cancer, the first trauma that they have is not physical, but is psychological, because your world ceased to exist. I received that message 3 times, so I know very well, as the British say, I have eaten that soup and I know what it tastes like. And so for me, in my journey through cancer, which I have endured for the past 15, actually I'm getting close to 17 years. When I speak of not knowing, I'm not referring to ignorance or denial. Absolutely. Instead, I'm referring to a conscious, courageous openness, a willingness to meet each moment without preconception or rigid expectation and this unquenchable desire of knowing every detail. Cancer narrows our life down to a series of unknowns. Will this treatment work? How long will the side effect last? Will my next scan be clear? So these questions are natural, but they can also become mental traps, pulling us into imagined, fabricated futures that generate fear and suffering. So beginner's mind gently loosens that grip I mean, when in our daily existence, our mind constantly races from past to future. So if we really reflect on it, past and future don't exist. They don't exist. The past, because it's already taken place. The future, why? Because it's a mere fabrication of our mind. So this obsession with knowing, it really makes us suffer. So when we embark in our journey with cancer, we need to have an anchor. I use the word anchor because anchor really gives us a sense of an understanding of trust. And when we say trust, we find peace. So once we have on our path our oncologist, our team of doctors, we need to trust them, not to second guess them. Otherwise, our suffering amplifies. So the beginner's mind that I'm talking about invites patients to approach the experience with a curiosity instead of a dread, with openness rather than resistance. So this shift in attitude can really allow us to feel less overwhelmed by what's unfolding. Instead of assuming the worst or clinging to specific outcome, especially when we misinterpret those numbers, those statistics that without a medical degree, we don't understand, a beginner's mind welcomes each moment as is, as a fresh moment, as unfolding, as unrepeatable. So only in this way, not knowing becomes really spacious, and it keeps our heart soft and receptive to anything that happens. So for cancer patients, living in a state of certainty, it's impossible. Cancer, it's almost synonym of uncertainty, because living in a state of wise openness is not. Beginner's mind helps us, having this open mind, help us to endure difficult symptoms, unpredictable cycles of treatment, and the emotional turbulence that comes with this disease. It teaches us to take each day as it comes. One of the biggest lessons that cancer teaches us is that our life becomes tentative. Everything is tentative. We go from, I have an appointment tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock to change the oil in my car. I have to take my son to the piano lesson. I have a dinner with my friend Joe. I have blood test. I have to see my oncologist. I have a PET scan. So cancer forces us to cram all these other appointments, all these other things in a schedule that is already crazy for us. And so everything becomes tentative. Can I make that appointment? Can I make that other appointment? So it teaches us to take each day as it comes, in order not to add suffering to already our suffering of dealing with cancer. We need to take life one breath at a time, without having this burden of trying to forecast the future. It's not our job to forecast the future, as I believe is not the job of an oncologist to say, put your affair in orders because in 6 weeks you're going to be gone. That's God business. It's not the oncologist's business. So this ability to really remove the burden of this forecasting does not eliminate fears, but allows us to respond to fear without being consumed by it. Because let's face it, If I ask 100 patients with cancer, what is that really is happening to them? They tell you, I am consumed by fear. So there is also profound healing benefit in this approach to not knowing. So when the mind is not crowded with this fixed idea, oh, this is hopeless, I must recover by this date, my markers number are up by a tenth of a percent. So when we don't crowd the mind with all this nonsense that contributes only to our underlying fear and suffering, our mind becomes more flexible, more resilient. I've seen patients often discover new inner resource that they didn't know that they possessed. They have found unexpected moments of joy, even during chemotherapy. I've seen patients smiling during chemotherapy. It's a pretty tall order to achieve when you do something like that. And patients achieve tenderness in relationships that they were strained by the illness, or spiritual insight that could only emerge in the stillness, in finding this peace in the present moment. And not knowing invites all of this. So in practical terms, what I'm trying to say is that this beginner mind, this mind that is open to any possibility. And throughout my years with cancer, I developed a particular relationship with what I call wise hope, which is different from the hope that we experience every day and that we have grown up with. The regular hope that we exercise, it's a system, a closed system that it's only us and our desires. I hope I can get a better car. I hope I can go to the exotic vacation. I hope that my son can get into Ivy League school. When that doesn't happen, what happens to you? You get disappointed. When do you have cancer? Can you afford another disappointment? I don't know about you. I don't. So you have to resort to what I call wise hope. Wise hope is an open system, a system where you say, I'm open to everything that comes in. Even the small things that happen to me are welcome, are a sign that I'm moving towards a direction. And if they don't happen by the date that I had in mind, let it be, because I don't want additional disappointment. So wise hope gives us the fortitude, the courage to dwell in the unknown. And what is the unknown? The unknown, it's the boundless realm of possibilities that includes our healing, that includes our manifestation of what we want. So in practical terms, as I said, the beginner mind can help patients to move through treatment with greater ease. A patient that receives a challenging new therapy may say, I don't know what this experience will bring, but I will meet it with openness. A caregiver that is overwhelmed by worry might soften their heart in the moment just by realizing, I don't need to have all the answers right now. This is wise hope. This mindset reduces anxiety, fosters adaptability, and allows the patient, allows us to anchor. This is the term that I used before, to anchor ourselves in the present, which is the only place where life actually takes place. So, in conclusion, beginners' minds restores a sense of inner spaciousness. It helps us to release the exhausting pressure of predicting, controlling, understanding every minute details of our illness. In that specific letting go, we often, as it happened to me, rediscover something unexpectedly powerful. What is that? Is the quiet courage to meet each moment fully, just as it is, and the wisdom to recognize that healing begins, continues, and endures with openness. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio. One of the things I want to, if you could address, is I think, and it's great you brought up, Googling and things like that. I think as human beings, one of the things that we have to overcome is ourselves. We have to overcome our own mindset and break through and realize that the world that used to be ours is different. We're living in a different world now that we have cancer.
Yeah.
So if you could talk about how we can overcome our own minds and how we could break through that and learn from this experience so that, we don't bring in old bad habits and things of that nature.
In one word, mindfulness. In many words, mindfulness as a tool to really comprehend that life, it's nothing else than pure impermanence. So we need to accept that. When we accept that, we really understand that we are our own worst enemy. I practiced for 25 years a Japanese martial arts that you practice with a katana. Katana is the sharpest sword and the sharpest instrument on the face of the earth. So when you practice, you don't practice with an opponent because you could kill him, but you practice and you do what is called kata, some exercise. And who is your opponent? How can you perform without a physical opponent? You imagine your opponent in your mind. And if we pause for a moment, in our life, who is our worst opponent? Is our mind. Many old saying go, don't believe everything that your mind tells you. Because again, as I said before, it's our mind has this ability to rush at incredible speed between future and past, which don't exist, and bypassing the present moment where life happens. So we need to trust in ourselves. We need to go and find the ability to live with our breath. Breath is the key, is the doorway to our ability to be present in the moment. When we are present in the moment and we breathe, we really trying to a form of peace and acceptance. And this is something that many meditators experience, not only in the Buddhist tradition, in the Muslim, in the Christian, in the Hindu tradition. It's that ability to stay with the breath that anchors you in the present moment and makes your mind help you accept what is. And what is, it's nothing that we can change. It's nothing that we can change. We need to accept it and do the best we can with it. When we receive, and we all in this room have it, had it when we received the diagnosis. Can you change it? I say, even if when cancer knocks at your door, even if you show up with a shotgun, cancer is not going away. Cancer is there. That's why I say, when cancer knocks at your door, don't fight it. Don't go and hide in the basement. Find the courage to open the door and invite cancer in for tea. Sit down like two old friends, having a conversation on one single important topic. How can we coexist? That's all we can do. Any other thing that your mind tells you, kick the ass of cancer, kick him in the balls, just run away. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. This is from someone who went 3 times through cancer. So I think I have a little bit of credibility. It's nonsense. I have assisted people to their last breath as a volunteer and as a chaplain. And sometimes their last words, among their last words, were, I wish I had known before not to fight, but to accept, to open my mind, to let it be. There is nothing that we can do. So just connect to your breath. Go and dwell in the moment. It's the only place, the present moment, where reality is, where life happens. Everything else, as I said, fabrication of your mind, with no tangible ability, no tangible results. I hope I addressed your question, Mark.
You did. One of the things that I am thankful that I learned is, when I got diagnosed with my stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer, and I looked at myself and I looked and I thought, okay, the body that I had before is no longer the same. I had been in great shape prior to cancer. I'd worked out 4 to 5 times a week, real hard at the gym. Thought I was in great shape, thought everything was, you know, doing well. Then I got cancer, and then all of a sudden I looked down at my body, and my legs weren't the same, my arms weren't the same. Nothing was the same as far as my body goes. In fact, I was fighting my body. It was a daily battle to even walk. When I was at my worst, it took me 10 minutes to walk across a regular sized room. I mean, that's just the way it was. And so what was interesting is the fact that I sat down and I accepted it. Okay, I don't have the same body that I did yesterday. You know, my body is completely different. But what I looked at was what was working still. And what was working still was my mind. In fact, I thought myself, my mind seems really, really strong. And so I decided that I was going to use and develop my mind to its maximum potential. And I was going to learn every single day. And I used social media, particularly LinkedIn, likely here. And I reached out to people all over the world. And I was starved. I was hungry for knowledge. And I was like blown away because all of a sudden my mind had gotten so crystal clear. And they say you use only a very, very small portion of your mind. And I felt like I had kind of broken through that, and I was developing more of my mind. So if you could talk about that aspect of it, Claudio.
It's incredible that you say that. Let me open with a joke. I always say that every morning when I wake up, if I open my eyes and I feel good, I thank God. If I open my eyes and I feel a pain, I thank him twice because I can feel the pain. So it's what cancer teaches you, as I said before, is everything becomes tentative. So I came to realize that I I used to be in the national track and field student team in uh, in uh, in in Europe when I was young. So I'm a runner, and for me, as you said, legs were an important part of my life. And since last January, I lost nearly 30 pounds of my weight. I am all skin and bones, and we're trying to address that. And so one morning, uh, after the initial shock of seeing myself, like I say, I resemble more the picture of someone who survived concentration camp, with all the respect for those people. God bless them all for the powerful lesson of courage that they taught us. But when I got over that, I said, what is this desire of having a good body and a good shape? It's just it's just my desire, my want. But life with this impermanence supersedes, it really trumps what I want. And so you need to accept that. But I looked at that and then I said, but I'm here. Today I'm going to talk to Mark and his group. In the afternoon, I'm going to see my friend Tony. In a little while, I'm going to make lunch. So I am here. I'm like the old saying goes, I'm alive and kicking. So on a more spiritual level, I am fulfilling the mission of respecting and enduring the supreme gift of life that the Lord has given me. So those are the aspects that we have to see. I'm about to turn 70, so can I expect to flex my muscle as I used to do it 30 years ago? Come on, no, nonsense. It's what it is. It's impermanence. It's actually, I think at a concept that is in the Japanese culture called wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi is a tradition where if you have an object like a beautiful vase that has been cracked with years, but you love that vase, what do? You go and you fill those cracks with gold. You want to put forward those cracks because those cracks are your battle scars that show who you are. I lost 30 pounds. I lost it to cancer, but I can talk about it. I can go and be of assistance to people who are dying, to families that are crying and praying for a miracle for their family. So what else do I want more than that? If things would have taken a different course, I wouldn't have been here today in front of all of you. So what we have, let's accept the moment for what it is and make it the most beautiful moment, every moment in our life, because here we are. The moment that we're not any longer able to interact, to talk, when we're not any longer in vertical position, all of that is gone. So the gift of life, it's incommensurable. So let's celebrate it. We lost weight, let's smile. But as you said before, Mark, I've been making my mind busy with many things. I'm working on writing a book. I do a lot of assistance by phone and Zoom to people with cancer. I do invocation. I do eulogies. So I am busy celebrating and thanking the Lord for having given me cancer that has been incidentally, and many of you can appreciate what I'm about to say, one of the best teachers of my life, and thanking the Lord for being alive and be able to shake hands with this teacher and say, thank you for coexisting with me and not suppressing me, and for teaching me everything that I can share with the others. Again, I hope I have addressed your question.
That's beautiful, Claudio. I was talking to my son-in-law yesterday, and I went into town and I got a haircut. And I was in desperate need of a haircut. I had just been putting it off, and I said, "Hey, let's go get a haircut." He said, "Okay." And I thought back, when we're growing up and we're going to school, how important how different our focus was back then growing up as it is now. And what I mean by that is, when you're growing up, you're going to school, the way you look is so important to you. I mean, teenagers in particular are notorious for spending, like so much time in front of the mirror to make every single thing in place. Now I look at the mirror, hey, as long as something's not falling out or falling off, I'm good to go. I mean, I take one look that's maybe 10 seconds and hey, that'll work. So it's interesting how our mindset has changed as we develop and we grow and we learn. Uh, and so talk about that aspect of growth in your mind as you first of all get cancer and how that matures as you go along and you learn more about the cancer journey.
Yeah, the cancer journey is a journey of wisdom, is a journey of wisdom. You get powerfully enriched by every single small interaction that you have. First and foremost, you learn how to have a different relationship with time. Time becomes so precious that, as you said, I look in the mirror 10 seconds and I'm good to go. Why should I spend 15 minutes in combing my hair or lack thereof, or doing anything else when I can go to this meeting and help this person? So the relationship with time, I venture to say I had a particular relationship because I studied a lot through the Buddhist concept of time. And with me, cancer had taught me that time, it's not outside of my body. I am time. And when I say I am time, I am being time. Why? Because every day, because of this attention that gets narrowed and focused by cancer, I can see the little decays, the extra few hair that fall off, the extra few white beard that I get, the inability to move as fast as I could. So you become so aware of time that you become very, very respectful of it. You don't want to waste it. And also, cancer gives you a high degree of wisdom, because that wisdom comes from the respect that you have for others people's life as much you have for yours. How many times after diagnosed with cancer, you see people that do stupid things and you say, huh, God, why do you do that? You know, one day you might be in my own shoes and say, that was dumb. That was really dumb. So when I walk into the corridors and the hospitals and I go into rooms and nurses and doctors whisper to me, go to see patient in room 18 because when they say because, I know they don't need to articulate anything to me. I go there and I offer my unconditional ministry of presence, because I don't want to waste a single iota of their time. It's like if something jumps out of me, my energy, and goes into them to help them heal, to help them cope with pain, to help them accept. And so with their families, if they're not around. So the wisdom that you derive from the journey through cancer trumps any decay of the body, any fact that we don't look as good as we used 20 years ago, that our skin is not as shiny as before. That it all becomes really nonsense. Again, it boils down to the fact I am here. I am respecting the Lord for the gift of life that is given me, and I'm trying to fight, or if you don't want to use the term fight, cultivate this incommensurable gift, because this is my mission in life now more than ever. Because when you're healthy, do you think about having cancer? Oh, come on, it's you busy doing other things. When you get to this point, there is a form of reverence towards everything, towards yourself. Opening your eyes in the morning doesn't mean that you're looking where your shoes or slippers are and zipping out of the room. Opening your eyes, now it's a cause for pausing for a moment and say, thank you. This morning I opened my eyes. I'm going to go to the hospital to do my volunteer work. Will all the people that I've been assisting in this past few weeks or months have opened their eyes this morning? I pray God, yes. So again, it's I cannot say this to too many people, but to people that can understand. And we have a greater common denominator here that unites us. I say that cancer has been my best teacher, has become my best traveling companion, one with whom I share my fear. He knows, or she knows, or it knows, whatever, how scared I've been, how scared I am most of the times. And so we have no secret for each other. He tells me, I am what I am. I am cancer. And I tell him, I'm scared of you. So how can we coexist? That's the only question that we can pose. How can we coexist? That's why I am a very strong advocate, and I make no bones with doctors and nurses. Please, when you talk to cancer patients, don't use a martial language, a fight language, a war language. Oh, you're going to kill cancer. You're going to kick the ass of cancer. Because the moment that there is something that doesn't go well, that cancer patient feels like a failure. Can you afford to be a failure when you are already with cancer? No, you need all the boost of energy to move forward. You need to stay in positivity, not in negativity. And that's why you will never hear from me the word fight. There is nothing to fight. is just coexist.
That's a fascinating outlook. How would you how first share yours and what you would recommend to others? What is your relationship with your cancer? And is it and I think this is a very deep topic, especially for anybody who's particularly people who've got multiple cancers and things like that. Is it a matter of respect, the cancer, a partnership with cancer? What exactly is it?
Um, there are multiple factors. If I say that I have no moments when I'm scared of cancer, I would be a liar. So even though we sit very often and we take that infamous cup of tea that I mentioned before, for me, it's an ongoing conversation. Every new PET scan, every new blood test, every new results, we sit down and we say, my cancer marker have gone up. So tell me, what are we going to do here? And so my relationship is a form of respect, because if it has manifested in my life, if the Lord has decided that cancer had to manifest in my life, and for that matter 3 times, means that he's here to teach me a lesson that I haven't learned before. So I think I mentioned this in one of the other meetings that we had. One of the greatest lessons that I learned is not to ask, why me? Because the answer is too simple. Why not? I got news for all of you. I am, you're not special. We're not special. So why me? It's a stupid question. But the question that I ask is, what is the lessons that you showed up at my front door to teach me? And so I'm trying to find what is the lesson. I'm going through this exercising of putting together some script for a potential book of my experience. And that exercise is helping me to get in touch every day, every moment that I write, with cancer, and ask him the question, come on, let me understand why you here, why you came 3 times. I mean, usually the first time we shook hands and it should have been enough. But if you hear, it's because there is a lesson greater than what I can understand right now that you bring in me. But by the same token, if the oncologist calls and says, Claudio, your markers went up this month, I have my moments. I have my moments of fear. I have my moments of saying, God, I really would like to stick around for another few years. In my prayers every day, I pray for my well-being, but I also pray for the ability, the strength, the knowledge, and the wisdom to be of support and reduce the suffering of all sentient beings. So this is, I believe that I pretty much covered my relationship with cancer.
Talk about how helping others, in your work, how it's helped you personally, and a two-part question. What's the most important thing you've learned from that experience? And if you could share one of the most dramatic people that you've helped.
Um, when you help people, cancer gets up and puts in front of you a beautiful mirror, a shiny mirror. And so one of the first things that you say there, oh, that's my suffering. Oh, those are my fears. Oh, that's what I felt yesterday. So it really gives you the ability to have a very in-depth look inside yourself. It really gives you the ability to bear witness to what's going on in your life, to find the courage to do that. Helping others, for me, has been, and maybe doctors would not agree with me, the best medicine that kept me alive through 3 cancers. Helping others, being at the sides of someone that is crying in pain, being at the sides of a family praying for a miracle for their child, being at the sides of someone that says, I don't think I can do this anymore. And telling them, what? You don't have to do anything. Just be. Cancer doesn't require you to be a performer. Cancer is something that you have to go through. The most beautiful experience that I had, I have assisted a young lady in their late 20s in her last few months of her life. One day I was in the hospital, and one of the nurses told me, there is a very bright young lady in room 20. You should talk to her. So I went there. We had a very nice conversation. She loved the idea of what I was doing as a chaplain. And so I went back the following week, and her conditions were already starting to deteriorate very fast. So her family was there. I connected to her family. And as weeks went by, she was in constant pain. She was taking morphine. One day, the doctor, for some reason, morphine was delayed. And so she was crying in severe pain, and her mother was at her bedside crying. The father was crying in a corner. Her sister was devastated. And I said, allow me to do some healing touch. I learned how to do healing touch. I have the 3rd level of healing touch therapy. And so I was able to do healing touch. And when I was halfway going through her body, by magic or by the gift of our Lord, she stopped crying and she became silent, and the pain wasn't as bad as it was. So I asked her, if you can answer to me, or if you can't, squeeze my hand. Is your pain gone? She squeezed my hand. She almost hurt me. And that was, sorry. That was an incredible moment. And I continued to do what I did with her until one day I was informed that she was a CMO. So, in other words, that they could give her only something to sustain her journey out. And so I started going every day. And I was there until she expired. And her family was so grateful for what I did to her. for talking to her when she was completely out of it. And I was trying to convince her that she was listening to me. She was understanding every word that I was saying. And they were so nice that after she passed away, they wrote a very beautiful letter to the management of the hospital. And long story short, 3 weeks ago, I received a special award called the Peace Award for the help that I have given these human beings and their family. And last week, I was blessed to be at her memorial, and I gave a sort of a memorial eulogy to the to her memory, and it was just I think that I haven't heard that I haven't had in my life another experience so enriching spiritually, religiously, physically. It was almost a body sensation when she squeezed my hand to tell me that was her. Thank you. I'm out of pain. And this from someone who was in constant, enduring pain that was tamed only by large doses of morphine. So I think I said enough.
Thank you so much, Claudio. Um, what I always look for is how much a person believes in what they're saying and how passionate they are. And you just exhibited, you know, passion to the upteenth level. And so we thank you for who you are. That's why I like things that move me, because when people put their heart and their soul into whatever they're doing, that's when it can really make a difference. So what I'd like to do right now is open it up to uh, questions and comments, and go ahead and raise your hand or wave your hand, and let's get a conversation going as a group with Claudio. Anybody?
Yeah, sure. I'll go, everybody, real quick. Claudio, thank you. Amazing. I love this visceral human energy. I really got involved in that when I got cancer. It was I got bladder cancer. I'm sorry I didn't say before. I got non-muscle invasive bladder cancer 2023. I'm 2 years, no evidence of disease, and I'm currently in immunotherapy. But the power of positivity and gratitude are so immensely just I had no idea before I went through alcoholism. I used to weigh over 300 pounds. I was addicted to food. I didn't care about anything. I ran a self-fulfilling prophecy of just death, very simply. So then only after I got that diagnosis did it square me up just with cancer. And I had an angel on one shoulder, devil on the other, and they both had something to say to me.
Yeah,
So I'm laying in bed, depressed, and exactly where you are. So, just I could talk about it forever, but thank you for your very, very, true representation of what you have. I believe you just have a hold of exactly what it takes to cure cancer, man. So thank you.
thank you.
I'll go. Claudia, it's always a pleasure. I know most of you, but for those of you that don't, I'm 14 years cancer-free from acute myeloid leukemia and been through much, suffered much, and also seen some beautiful stories. And so, if I can just briefly share two stories from this week alone that tie back to what Claudia was sharing. One, on the weekend, a young man approached me about a young mother that had blood cancer and could I intervene? And so we've talked, and I talked to her, and her name's Katie, and she blew me away. She's like, I'm so thankful that God chose me, sorry, to have the strength to come through this. And I'm thankful for you that you had the courage to reach out to me. And I'm like, I'm just whatever, losing my mind. And then I play cards on Wednesday nights, and I have a friend, and she basically was just telling me how her brother-in-law died, and his name was Doug, and he died of cancer last week. And she was there with him to the end, and she said, I never knew the responsibility as well as the gift of being with this person in their last moments. And when you were sharing about just that lady, the young lady, and so my point with that is, um, when I had blood cancer and it had relapsed and was dying, I basically felt God tell me to get over myself and go spend time with the next person and be with the next person. So your message was perfect today, and it was funny. Danny messaged me as you're talking, and I had just put this post on Facebook. I was choosing gratitude and thankfulness, and then like you're talking. So, anyways, much appreciated, and God bless you. Thank you.
Everything happens for a reason in life.
Yes, thank you.
Michael, did you want to say something? You got to unmute yourself. Should be in the bottom left-hand corner. See a microphone?
I see it.
There we go.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Claudio. As a chaplain myself, and a pancreatic cancer survivor twice as well. I am currently living with two tumors that I was told about 8 years ago that the tumors were removed. So I lived with them for 8 years until I went and I had the symptoms again. And doctors said that at the time they weren't able to go in and take those tumors out. And I'm like, you're shitting me. You know what I mean? So now we got the two tumors. I'm getting these shots every month to keep them from spreading to other parts of the body. My story is hope, love, and inspiration with my trips up to Capitol Hill, advocating for pancreatic cancer. But a long time ago, when I was first diagnosed up in Massachusetts, my former uh, uh, daughter-in-law actually, and I started drinking as well. She just said one day, "Let him drink. He's going to die anyway." And then I said, "Well, I'm not going to let that happen." The Lord again lifted me up spiritually, and I pray to God every single day when I wake up with a smile. I stay positive, and I don't let negativity creep into my mind. I just kind of shake my head and move forward. So thank you, Claudio. Uh, it was very inspirational. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And as I always say, remember, we're never alone. We're never alone. Even when we don't see people around us, we're never alone. The Lord is with us, and our faith anchors us. And so we're never alone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Claudio. Every time we come to these meetings, we learn so much, but today, I mean, your wisdom and your messages are so amazing, so deep. I think this is one of the most amazing sessions we have had this year. your reminder about being present is so important. Whether we are having we are facing a sickness or not, I would say to people, no matter if you are with your mom or your dad or your relatives, you should value them. No matter what, you should be present when you are with them. You should enjoy time uh, to be fully present with them and say to them you love them, express your feelings no matter what. Don't wait. Don't wait until that person is sick or is just to die, right? So your reminder is really beautiful and your mission is really admirable. Thank you so much for being here. I feel really honored to listen to you today, and I mean you brighten my day. Thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always remind people that it takes less than a nanosecond for us to have a diagnosis of cancer. When compared to life that we don't think about it. Oh, I don't talk to my brother. I don't talk to my mother. I hate my cousin. And then the doctor says, you have cancer. And that's the moment when everything goes. So it's as we have to have courage with cancer to live and do things. So we have to have the courage in life, in regular life, to just have a regular relationship with anybody. And most of the times when we look at people that we don't like, it's because they are holding up a mirror in front of us and they are showing us the part that we don't like about ourselves. So we've got to get easy with judgment. I know it's easier said than done, but that's what it is. And the moment that we are constantly in not liking mode, we are constantly in suffering. We are increasing already the suffering. Life is suffering by itself. So why to add, as I said before, why to put a head on top of another head? We don't need that. We don't need that. Thank you.
Amazing.
Harry.
Hi. Yes, I just wanted to say something quickly to Claudio. I just wanted to thank him very much for sharing such a valuable and very heartfelt presentation today. I still remember one of the first meetings I tuned in for. Claudio was the speaker, and I just couldn't get over his ability to just describe things in a way that I'd never heard of before. In particular, the idea of trying to coexist with cancer and the concept of trying to actually be brave enough to open the door and invite cancer in for tea. I wrote that down and I will never forget that quote. I think it really exemplifies just a different approach. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for the work that you do and for you taking the time today to speak with us. I hope your health improves. I was saddened to hear that you're dealing with cancer again yourself, but I just wanted to say thank you for what you do and the way that you express it and everything that you've shared with us today. It's very meaningful. So thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Gary, I could see questions or something popping into your head. Go ahead.
Hi, Claudio. Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to make the beginning. We had some contractors here for some water damage that we have. Nonetheless, I will rewatch your presentation. And from what I heard over the last 15 minutes, you, like many of us, we're all anointed with the Holy Spirit. And it's amazing that that you shared those beautiful stories of working with patients suffering through the most challenging parts of their lives. It's important for people like us that have been blessed with the gift of touch. I'm a retired chiropractic physician, but also 33-year survivor of a rare blood disorder that's definitely upset my body, but I'm probably in the best health of my life, and it's so nice to hear, I'm George's Cordova, who was just on the phone, and many of us, have had incredible gifts at touching people when they need it most. And healing touch, as I've known for 45 years, is along with the spirit anointed compassion and empath that you and all of us are, it such makes a difference in people's healing. And you saw with the patient in pain, I mean, to bring calm at the end of one's life, being a hospice director, I know how important that is. And it really transcends medicine. It transcends medicine and medical science. It's definitely a spiritual, Holy Spirit anointed kind of healing that we so very much need, all of us. And so Mark has really done a beautiful thing at bringing all of us precious souls together to share stories of healing and resilience. And it's so important. Thank you so much for sharing. I can't wait to hear your presentation. And you know, God is keeping us around, Claudio, and all of us,
Yeah,
because he knows that our children need spiritual awakening and need healing. And otherwise we would be at the right hand. We would be with Jesus.
yep.
So at least we have the anointing of the Holy Spirit guiding our every way, and just spreading that beautiful message of health and healing resilience. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. And for appreciating the value of Healing Touch. Not too many people know about it. And but it's I've been lucky. I was selected to do Healing Touch for the first time at the local hospital in the emergency room. I went into a room where there was a woman that had a car accident. I asked her, give me from 1 to 10 scale your pain. She says, it's a 9. She was screaming and they were doing morphine. Same thing. I did the Healing Touch for her, 10, 15. And while I was doing that, I did also some guided imagery just to bring the energy of her pain down to distract her. At the end, I said, please give me a reading now from 1 to 10. What is your pain? She goes, 4. But she says, what the heck did you do to me? I said, nothing. I offered you my ministry of presence, my equanimity, 100% untainted, just for you. I dropped my energy into your body. So in life, for me, after this experience with cancer, there is nothing more rewarding than moments like that. And I know, Gary, that you understand what I'm talking about.
I've experienced that, Claudio, in the exact same way. Having worked as a nurse and a doc, but in the physical sciences of chiropractic healing touch. So I've seen that where people are coming, and it's not necessarily their diagnosis is what they need. It's their deepest needs of emotional and spiritual healing that only those of us that have the gift can offer. Now, I've worked in the emergency room and trauma centers and the ICU,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know that from a medical standpoint, it's 99% taskmaster, saving life. But the 1% that you offered when you were in that emergency room that I never saw. I mean, maybe a social worker would come in to offer, hospice resources or something if someone was in that bad a shape. But 99.9% of the time, they're not getting guided imagery and healing touch and addressing their emotional needs at the scariest time in their life. They're just in a car accident, or cancer has brought them into the ER, whatever it is. And on the medical side, besides our skill, that healing spirit, being with that person, being present, listening to them, like most of the doctors, unfortunately, don't. They are just there to sometimes, and this is not all doctors, we have a lot in this community that are healing naturopathic physicians and compassionate physicians that I think the most important skill, 99% of their skill that is rewarding and healing to the patients is the healing touch, the being present, the guided imagery, the mindfulness, the mindset, the coaching. You know, you're not alone. You can get through this. The promoting, inspiring their own inner healing.
Yeah.
Like Danny's on immunotherapy. Immunotherapy, as you know, it asks your own immune defense system. It bolsters that so that your body can heal itself more rapidly. But that's a rogue therapy. Unfortunately, immunotherapy, although it's very healing in many people and saves their lives, sometimes it's not enough. So it's what we do that actually bridges that gap, and it's just a blessing that we can come together. And we're going to be working on a project with Carrie, and hopefully you can contribute to write a book to address not only our stories, which will probably be a chapter, right? Healing, surviving stories, but how we all conquered cancer or life-threatening illness.
Yeah.
And uh, everybody needs to hear this. In my opinion, everybody on the planet. This is a small community, but we have far-reaching global reach that is going to make the difference. And thank you, Mark and Lihia, and all of you for allowing ministry like this and Claudio's work and all of our work to be assembled to share the healing gospel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gary. Thank you so much, Claudio. What we're going to do right now is we're going to close out the recording. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining us here at the Cancer Conquering Community. Be sure to join us next week. No, not next week, because next week is Thanksgiving. And so the following week after that, we are going to have Dr. Ashok Bhattacharya, who is a medical physician, a psychiatrist, and want to say, hope each and every one of you has a very wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and friends. Be blessed, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you.